We are live. Welcome to another episode of AB Trapper Quick Talk. And today we're going to be talking about Errol Spence versus Derrick James. Now I'm gonna break down this lawsuit. I don't think like enough people's talking about it just because they don't know about it. But I think this is affecting both these guys' careers in a bigger way than we actually think. Just to explain it to you in like 10 seconds before I get deep into it. Basically, we got Derrick James, who filed a lawsuit against Errol Spence, saying that Errol Spence hasn't paid him what he's owed. Now, Errol Spence, on the same day, went and filed a counter lawsuit against Derrick James, saying he did pay him and he actually wants Derrick James to pay his lawyers and any fees that he has to pay out of pocket for this court proceeding. It's really messy and it's kind of sad to see these guys go head to head like this after a successful boxing career. This is family drama. These guys have known each other for a very long time. I don't know how far they go back. I don't even know how they met. So I don't really want to get in between it. I don't want to say who's right, who's wrong. I just want to explain it. Basically, we got Derrick James claiming that Errol Spence hasn't paid him what they verbally agreed on. Keyword verbally. Now, Errol is saying, no, I paid you everything I had to pay you legally. So, Errol Spence is not mentioning what they agreed verbally, but he's actually countering and saying, no, I paid you everything I owed you legally, what I owe you on paper. Now, there's actually a law on all this contract stuff, right? So, a trainer, manager, assistant, whatever, etc., whatever you want to call them, they can only receive 10% of what you earn. That's the maximum. Now it seems like Errol Spence did indeed pay Derrick James everything that he was owed on paper. When Errol Spence is signing a fight contract, let's say against Mikey Garcia, right? Errol Spence is going to earn $3 million on paper. On the contract, it says Errol Spence is going to gain $3 million. Now, Derrick James is supposed to get 10% of that $3 million because that's what's on paper. When you're a star like Errol Spence, you get a lot of money from the back end. Pay-per-view points, you get sponsorships, you get a lot of money from different ways, right? But that's not on the contract. So Derrick James doesn't know that Errol Spence is gaining money from the back end or doesn't know how much money it is. So Derrick James is coming forward and saying, yes, he did pay me what the contract said, but he did not pay me based on the back end money that he also received. So the back end money wasn't included with the $3 million fight contract. He's basically saying that Errol Spence and him shook hands on Errol Spence sending Derrick James money under the table. And if you don't know that phrase under the table, that means basically like gifting him money, like bonuses, so that money don't get taxed. You feel me? So that money is not on paper. It's just something to get around the system. Now, Derrick James is claiming that he didn't get those gifts. He didn't get those bonuses, which they verbally agreed. It's not on the contract, but they verbally agreed. To me, that's some street politics. You feel me? Trying to bring street politics into court. That's why guys in the street kill each other and beat each other up when it comes to money situations. Because you can't walk into court saying, yo, we shook hands and he didn't pay me when I won the bet. So now I want you as the judge to force him to pay me. It doesn't work like that. That's not legal. I understand where Derrick James is coming from, but I also understand where Errol Spence is coming from. He's like, nah, buddy. Legally, I did give you all the money that I owe you, 10% on the fight contracts. Derrick James is claiming that he didn't get bonuses and gifts for all the biggest fights that Errol Spence was in. So for Mikey Garcia, Danny Garcia, Yordenis Ugas, he didn't get bonuses. He did get the 10%, but he didn't get bonuses. Well, Derrick James, you're admitting that you did receive the 10%. That's what's on paper. That's what's on the contract. So for a judge, I think it's gonna be easy for him to just throw it away. But I mean, hey, if the judge got time, then maybe he makes Errol Spence pay up a little bit because he verbally agreed. But I just don't see that happening. I'm not saying Derrick James should have not taken this to court and just pressed Errol Spence with his goons, but it definitely didn't do any good for the relationship between y'all. Derrick James did text him. He did ask him politely, but he still hasn't seen the money. He's also saying that when he trained Anthony Joshua for his fight, which wasn't a mega fight, he got paid more than what Errol Spence gives him. Yeah, it's unfortunate to see these guys, get into it. They had a successful run, and unfortunately, obviously, when boxers lose, they start pointing fingers sometimes. I'm not saying Errol Spence is pointing fingers, but everyone around Derrick James left. Ryan Garcia, Anthony Joshua, Frank Martin, Errol Spence. I don't know who Derrick James is training. And I'm not sure if that was because of Errol Spence convincing those people to leave. You did see these guys together cornering Frank Martin against Javante Tank Davis. It didn't seem like they was talking much. They didn't really like stand next to each other. There was always in between people. A reporter even asked Errol Spence, like, how's the relationship between y'all? And Errol Spence kind of brushed it off. He's like, nah, we not on that right now. We don't talk about that here. It's everything's about Frank Martin. Also want to bring up that Derrick James named a man named Al in the lawsuit, saying that Al influenced Errol Spence and was telling him like $350,000 is enough for a trainer. I was hoping to see Errol Spence come back to the ring along with Derrick James in his corner, but it looks like those times are over, and I'm not even sure if Errol Spence will be coming back. He does get mad when people start talking about retirement to him and like he's washed up, and it seems like he does want to come back, but mental and physical are two different things. Mentally, of course, you're always going to want to push through, but physically, can you push through? I hope things work out. I hope they, could work it out behind doors. But, if it keeps going down this path, then we might see a couple more headlines about these guys. But, that's taken away from the success that they had in the boxing ring. So that's very unfortunate. But that's all I got for you. Don't forget to drop a like, a subscribe, a comment, a share, do all that good stuff for me. Until next time.